Play hard and love big radio podcast. Inspiration on your station with the show broadcast. You don't want to miss it. You gotta listen. Good vibes and stories for you to go the distance. Bringing inspiration, stories that shine. Helping you connect heart and mind aligned. Live your best life, lift up and soar. Fueled by kumquat energy, we give you more. Play hard and love big.
Hey, thank you so much for taking the time and being up here in Folsom today to do Play Hard and Love Big Radio with me, Danny Vitiello.
Thanks for having me, man. I enjoy this stuff, so appreciate you having me. It's an awesome setup you got here. Happy to see it.
Yeah, it's a cool little setup. How did you see the Sacramento?
I saw it. I actually just saw it, like, as you started chatting. Yeah, nice thing there.
Yeah, we've been a fan of obviously of soccer forever. I grew up playing some soccer. And then when Sacramento Republic was formed, we have a client who brought me a flag right away, and he said, "You need to put that up there."
You got all the sport teams up here that you enjoy watching.
That's true. We got the Kings back there. I guess we got to get the A's. In fact, actually, at one point I saw a picture. They took a picture of you at the Kings game.
Yeah,
I think you and Sabrina were at the Kings
game.
Yeah, dude, look at this guy. He's a local celebrity.
No, yeah, they treat me well over at the Kings game. I've been on the Jumbotron a bunch. It's a good time.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Man. Well, in this episode today, I just want to chat with you and hear about your story, where you came from, how it is that you became the goalkeeper that you are now, how you become such a great family man, what you do, and why you do what you do. And for all the listeners out here who don't know Danny is making a huge impact in the Sacramento area with the Sacramento Republic, the starting goalkeeper for the Republic. And if you have a chance, I love going to your Instagram, dude, and just watching with the 10 best saves that you have. It's like you're not usually announced as Danny Vitiello. It's like, Danny Vitiello, how did he get his hand on that? How did he do that? It was amazing. It's like getting blasted by balls, and all of a sudden it goes out of bounds, and you're just fired up, man. I just love watching you. But Danny is a 2-time Gold Glove winner in the USL. Yep. Which is what the Golden Glove. What does that mean?
So in the USL, they do goals against average. So in other leagues, they'll do clean sheets and stuff like that. But in the USL, they do goals against average. So it's goals per 90 minutes you let up. And whoever has the least amount of that, they get the honor of being the Golden Glove winner. So done that twice, which is really cool. I think because they do it as goals against average, it's more of a team award. You're only as good as the shots you face and what's in front of you. So, but yeah, it was a tremendous honor to receive that twice, and hopefully more to come.
Yeah, and you're also the goalkeeper of the year for the USL. What year was that?
I want to say 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good year for us. We ended up finishing first in the West that year, which was awesome. And we made it to the Western Conference Final, which was also very cool. And playing in front of sold out crowds every night. When you're beating teams on a weekly basis, it's great. It's fun to be a part of.
No kidding,
especially in Sacramento.
What does that feel like, dude?
It's awesome. They really show out, and they give us their best. We try to give them our best. They give us their best, and yeah, we try and put on a good show every single time we're in front of them. And the more they show out, the better we become as players, and we only want to do the best for them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. When you have the crowd behind you like that, it's like a wave of energy, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's when there was a couple of times last year, they had some Danny chants, and you just kind of feel on top of the world at that point. And it's really cool. And when the final whistle blows, you get 3 points in a win. They stick around. They're rooting for you, telling you how awesome each player is, and it's a blast.
Yeah, that's so cool. What a rush, man. And in 2022, you were U.S. Open Cup finalist.
Yeah, we made it all the way there, which was absolutely an absurd run, especially nowadays with how good MLS teams are, USL teams are. The amount of teams there are in America to be one of the last two standing, you have to. I think we went through about 4 or 5 MLS teams that year. Yeah, again, it was a blast. And yeah, we were on a high pedestal that year. A lot of cameras, were put in front of us. Asking, how are you guys doing it on a weekly basis, on a round to round basis, and we just had a really tight knit group. a lot of great guys on the teams, and yeah, we loved each other. You know, we really wanted to be our best for each other, and you know, we would hang out on the weekends after games and stuff like that, and to be like brothers and family, and it was so cool.
Yeah, that's the thing I get from you, man, already is
Yeah.
that it's like, it's about the team, it's about the family. And I remember watching, there was a reel or some sort of a video that was put out during that run where your coach was talking about, he's like, look, the MLS players, they maybe have big salaries. There's a lot of big names coming from a lot of different places, but they don't have what we have here, which is a family. We care for each other. We've got each other's back. And it's so vitally important that you have that if you want to be a successful team.
No, yeah, I mean, you look at our roster today, you know, you got guys from Scotland, you got guys from Ireland, you got guys from England, and you know, we're all we have around here. I'm from New York, you know, across the country. You got other guys, you know, from New Orleans, Michigan. So when you come out here, you know, and you got just yourself, you know, maybe you got your wife and your son, but you don't really have anyone you can really fall back on. That's your actual family, you know. But you know, when you're here, you know, you got your teammates to fall back on. You know, we're always here for each other. You know, if you know we say, you know, I got something going on, can you help me out with this? You know, usually it's a yes right away, and back and forth. You know, yeah, like I say, you know, we're with each other all the time. You know, whether it's on or off the field, we're always together, and you know, just hanging out and smiling and laughing.
Let's backtrack and talk about your career. Like, what was it like growing up in New York? What age did you start playing soccer and goalkeeper specifically?
Yeah, I think soccer was probably one of you know my first sports to play. In Long Island, you know, it's very you know sports based. I played you know 4 or 5 sports growing up, from soccer. You got hockey, football, basketball, baseball, all of that. Um, so when I was young, you know, just playing anything, you know, I always had a ball in my hand.
Yeah.
Trying to you know get out to the park with my friends. You know, we would you know all meet up on our bikes. You know, and just ride straight to what was called John J. Burns Park.
John J. Burns?
Yeah, John J. Burns Park, right around the corner.
Yeah.
We'd all meet up there. We'd play anything from you know soccer to wiffle ball to basketball off the court, handball. You know, anything to get active and you know be with each other. And I think you know my friends they all wanted to shoot on the goal, and I always put my hand up to you know jump right in there and try and keep it out. And fell in love with it. I think so. When I was younger, I started out as a goalkeeper, and then I think for a little bit, I joined a team, or I went to a team that already had a goalkeeper, and I think I played on the field a little bit, which I was like, this is going to be awesome. You know, I'm going to be able to score some goals. And then
Yeah.
3 or 4 years doing that, I jumped right back in, and you know didn't skip a beat. And yeah, stayed. I was always in love with it, and you know I'm glad that you know I found my passion in that, because it happened that I was able to be pretty good and be able to you know go to college for it. And so with my club team, we ended up when we were U19, which was our last time together. We won the national championship in Oklahoma, and you know to be able to finish that way with you know guys I was playing with for 10 years was a dream. And then yeah, I went on to college and played 4.5 great years at the University of Albany.
Damn, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Were you starting in all 4 years, or what was your journey like in your college career?
So it's actually funny. So I went into college, and you know I wasn't the most fit guy on the roster. You know, you go into all these visits and you see at your visit, you know, you see the facility, you see the classrooms and stuff, and you go to the weight room, and the coach introduced me to about 3 or 4 you know juniors, seniors, and they're just like 6'4", like built up guys, and I'm here like 6'2", but like I got some you know some baby love on me, you know, some baby love. And,
Got a little baby love.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, I gotta do something here if I want to get to this level where you know these guys are starting, and you know they're at the top of the conference and you know statistics and stuff like that. So
Sure.
I went to college in 2014 and ended up you know losing a bunch of weight and getting my fitness up. Ended up losing probably like in total like 20 or 30 pounds. Um, Redshirt in my freshman year, which is a big thing for goalkeepers. I didn't play, so they put a red shirt on me, which gives me an extra year of eligibility.
Yeah.
And then the next year after that, I started and um, played 4 years starting. We won the conference 2 years out of the four when we made some deep runs into the tournament. We beat teams like Boston College, like Clemson, top teams in college. And again, it was a blast. Had so much fun doing that. And then ultimately led me to be able to go pro, which it never in a million years when I stepped on the college field, I thought I would be able to go pro. I thought, I was miles behind, but 4 years you play and you learn some things, and luckily had a team take a chance on me.
Yeah, and how did that process end up happening where you went from the college ranks into professional?
Yeah, so I think it was my junior year of college. Yeah, my coach had talked to some teams. I think it was Nashville and New York Red Bulls. They had some guys out during the summer, when classes were in session, just for a week, just to they called it a combine, and they, were able to see us for a week, and went to Nashville, and guess I did pretty well for that week, and they asked me to come back during preseason ultimately, and they could take a look at me again, and then played there at another combine with a bunch of other college kids, and I think the next day the GM, who actually his brother was a goalkeeper at Albany, which I think that's kind of where, they heard of me and were able to watch more of me. He knew of the program, and yeah, he called me. He was like, "Yeah, we're gonna offer you a contract," and that is how I got my foot in the door. And I think for a lot of these young kids who want to go to the pro, you just really need a foot in the door. I knew I wasn't gonna be making a lot of money. I knew I wasn't gonna be getting a whole lot of playing time, but I knew if I could get my foot in the door and I was able to, get in front of these coaches, these front office members on a day-to-day basis, they would fall in love with me. And luckily, I did well my first year and was able to get, another opportunity at Pittsburgh.
Like, yeah, they need a foot in the door, but
Yeah.
also as far as your physical and mental health and understanding of the game, what are some things that you learned in that jump from college to professional?
Oh yeah, I mean, from any level you go to, so from high school to college, there's going to be a jump. There's going to be a learning curve. It took me about 3 weeks to a month to be able to get up to par and get up to pace with guys who are 7-year veterans or 8-year veterans. And they get that too. Like a lot of guys pulled me aside. We're like, listen, like you're gonna mess up. You're gonna go through some things, but just stay up, stay on it, stay in the weight room, just stay after, get up to speed, and you'll figure things out. And yeah, it took me another 3 weeks, to a month to be able to get up to speed at the pro level. But after training, I'm facing shots from guys like Daniel Rios, who's at Vancouver Whitecaps now.
Yeah.
Shots from Cameron Lancaster, who's a big name from Louisville. I think he's at Lexington now. Carlton Belmar, guys like that after training, and you get up to speed pretty quickly. You want to put the work in, and you want to be out there, no matter who's watching.
It's interesting, man. We have a lot of parallels in our experience. I went to Fort Lewis College, which is a Division II school, and I redshirted my first year, and then played the following 4. And then afterwards, I got picked up in an open tryout with the Colorado Rapids, and I got in. But when you were talking about taking these shots from these pro guys, I remember I was in there with Pablo Masterini, dating myself, dude. Dating myself. I'm 42. How old are you? 29?
29.
29, yeah. So Pablo Masterini, Clem Mathis, but my favorite experience was training with Joe Cannon. He was out there, and I wonder if you had this experience, or you have this probably in the daily, I don't know, but where you make a save that you're like, damn, how did I make that save? Like, it's like out of nowhere, you're making saves and doing things that maybe you didn't think was possible. Do you have that experience?
No, yeah, of course. I mean, sometimes I feel like all players who love the game, they always, kind of can be in all of themselves a little bit, They know when it's a big moment or it's a big save or a big goal, and they're able to take it all in. I think that's where the best professionals, are able to stand out. It's kind of when they can kind of enjoy what they're doing, and at that time, if you're in love with the game, you're hyping yourself up and being able to make big moments happen. I think that's where it starts, and it also ends.
Yeah, that's where like continues forward, right? Like, I mean, I see that, dude, when you make saves, and like just the passion that just comes flying out of you when you're celebrating. I mean, I at home want to jump out of my seat,
Yeah.
dude. I'm like stoked.
Yeah.
So you played in Pittsburgh for how long?
So 2 years. I played there for 2 years. So how it started was kind of the front office at Nashville, along with the coaching staff. They moved up to MLS when I left, and they helped me reach out to other teams saying, listen, we've seen this guy for a year. He's good enough to play at the USL level. Like, we think maybe you should bring him in, have a look, and
Yeah.
and see what he's got. And so I went to Pittsburgh on trial for about 2 weeks, and yeah, the coach there, Bob Lilly, he's a legend in the USL. He decided to sign me, and I ended up not starting that first year until halfway through the season. I think it was COVID, so it was like 16-game season. Ended up taking the starting spot halfway through the season, and that's when I won my first Golden Glove.
Dang.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Amazing,
Yeah,
man.
so it was like Nashville, third string. I was back up to Matt Pickens and Connor Sparrow, who very good goalkeepers, and then just stepping into the spotlight and being able to use all the skills I made up from that 1 year and be able to ultimately win a good award. So that's good. So after I won the Golden Glove, I was there for one more season,
Okay.
which was a full year.
Yeah. What was that season like?
It was good. It was because it was more of a realistic season. You're
Yeah.
playing for 10 months or whatever it was, 9 months. And it's a grind. Week in, week out. You gotta always be on your game. From week 1 to week 30, you gotta have the same drive and want to be able to get those 3 points. And not a lot of teams are able to do that on a weekly basis. But it was good. We had a good squad. I think we came second in our conference that year, and then I think I was like third or fourth in the Golden Glove race, which was good. Always trying, stay in the top in those statistical categories. And then I think that year we got COVID, unfortunately. Like a lot of guys, not me, but a lot of guys on our team got COVID, so we couldn't take part in the playoffs. But
Shoot.
yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it's tough.
Sure.
Happens. I guess nowadays you live and you learn. But I think that year, the final that took place, both teams ended up getting COVID, so they had to cancel it.
The final got canceled?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it was a brutal year for that. But
I mean, across the board for anybody in any profession, that was a challenge.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like everything was getting switched up and messed around. And
I think we started each Monday with a COVID test.
oh,
which was
really?
pretty-
Oh, it
yeah.
has to be like that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So each week it was a COVID test, and like you took it, and I think you got the results like a day or two later, and you're like staring at your phone, like whatever happens, you're like, please be negative. So
Please let me play.
I think we didn't have too many problems as a team that year until obviously the playoffs, but yeah, it was a really good experience playing in Pittsburgh. I loved it there. The fans were good there too, good to me. I think that's that year I came to Sacramento.
That's who you came to Sacramento. Did I read that you spent some time in New Mexico at some point?
Yeah.
What was this?
Yeah, so
I saw that, and it was like a brief dash, like a half dash, not even a full dash. What was the scoop in New Mexico?
I didn't even know this was a thing, but so I was in Nashville.
Yeah.
It was like mid-season, just going about my business, trying to work hard day to day. And the GM called, I think he texted me, and he's like, "Hey, so we have this opportunity. One of the goalkeepers for New Mexico's brother is getting married, and they need some help for the weekend."
So you got hired out for the weekend?
Yeah, so it was like a 2-day thing, yeah, they flew me out. I ended up being on the bench, which honestly it brought a lot of eyes towards me, which I appreciate. And again, the front office at Nashville saw how hard I was working on a day-to-day basis, even though I was getting no minutes. And they said, we think he deserves this opportunity. I went to New Mexico, sat on the bench, and there was actually a New Mexico-based, I don't know if it was like a journal or like a New Mexico United journal, but they wrote a piece about me, about my journey. They called me a couple times. They asked about my journey and stuff, and they put out this whole piece on who I am and what I've done, and they put it out. It kind of got some more eyes on me. I got a good amount of followers on Instagram and stuff like that. So you never know what the opportunity is going to bring. And then I don't know. I'll probably skip at some things here, but when we beat Sporting Kansas City in the Open Cup final,
Yeah.
Mexico United tweeted a picture of me like on the bench, like
No
this,
way.
and they're like, "Oh, Danny Vitiello, New Mexico legend," and then in parentheses for that one game. It was hilarious, but it was a good experience. You know, I got to sit on the bench behind. His name was Cody Mizell. He was a longtime USL goalkeeper. He's now the DC United goalkeeper coach. So a lot of good, came out of that trip. Got some good contacts. And yeah, it was fun. It's a funny story I like to tell. On a you know not at a first coffee meeting or something. I told him when Neil was introduced as the coach, we went and sat down for a coffee. I was able to tell that story. We were able to laugh about it and stuff like that. So it's always fun. It's fun to talk about.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting how like you just really, like you said, you just really know what's going to come out of an opportunity.
Yeah.
And so if you have the bandwidth to handle an
Uh-huh.
opportunity, like putting yourself in those opportunities, really they prove to be beneficial. So
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, probably for your character,
Yeah.
but in general, like for every experience that you have in life, like it builds you up to be the person that you are today
For sure.
and where you are today.
Mhm.
So how did you end up getting to Sacramento? How did that whole process happen?
Yeah, so I think right when my season unfortunately ended in Pittsburgh, due to COVID, I had help from my agent. But he, right, like a day or two, he let it kind of settle down, from the whole shock of, our season just ended. He was like, yeah, we want, Sacramento wants to reach out, have a chat with you. They're interested. And so I was able to have some phone calls with Todd, Donovan, our GM, and, Mark. And they just kind of wanted to get to know me. I wanted to get to know a little bit more about the club. I fell in love with the club right away, what they wanted to instill, not only on the field, but in the community and stuff. They wanted to learn about me, how I was growing up, like my drive, my passions, like stuff like that. And yeah, I think we kind of hit it off right away. I had like 2 conversations with Todd, 2 conversations with Mark, and it was pretty quick. I think it was 2 weeks after those first phone calls. I was signing my contract to come, and I was actually getting married during that off season. So I was like, listen, I don't know when you guys are planning to start preseason, because like it depends on the organization when they want to start.
Yeah.
I was like, but I got a hard date here. I got to get married. They're like, yeah, it's fine, totally fine. And they they signed me, and never kind of looked back. Loved it here ever since.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you. Well, let's talk about Sabrina for a second.
Oh,
Where
yeah,
where
for
did you
sure.
guys meet each other?
So we are high school sweethearts. So we met in 2013. Yeah, we're going on 12 years of being together. Um, Married for now it's 3. It's going to be 4.
Wow.
Yeah, and she played basketball in high school. She actually played with my sister. My sister was an athletic freak. She was varsity everything in eighth grade and ninth grade. And she actually played with Sabrina on the basketball team. So I was at a couple of games, and yeah, I think what actually happened is I had a soccer game. So everything ties back to soccer here.
Totally.
So soccer game, I ended up getting a cleat in the face. I got a bunch of I got a cleat through my lip here. So I think it was like 6 stitches out here and then like 13 on the inside, or maybe the other way around. So I went back to school the next day, huge Band-Aid on my face, like too big, like way too big. Like I wanted the attention, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
she ended up, I think, asking, what the heck's wrong with your face?
Or why is that?
Yeah,
Yes,
why do you have a Band-Aid on your face? Like I was like, I'm like walking through the halls, like, like who's gonna ask me that? But yeah, she asked what was going on, and we ended up, hitting it off and going on a few dates, and yeah, the rest is history.
And you have this amazing, beautiful son, Daniel. Daniel and Sabrina are actually in the room right over here right now, and they're playing.
It's changed everything. It's no longer about me. He's really opened my eyes and has been able to, show me the truths to life, and what it's really all about. And I don't think there's been a day where I haven't smiled, or laughed, or been so in love with him. And, he's really just brought this joy to my life. Being able to see, how Serena's turned into to a mother, after, being with her for 10 years. I never thought I would be able to fall more in love with her, seeing her as a mother. But yeah, he's just a ball of joy. He started walking a couple months ago, and being able to chase him around, and he's fallen in love with dribbling soccer balls, and yeah, it's just it's changed me not only as a player but as a person. After practice, back in the day, I would be thinking about soccer 24/7. What's tomorrow gonna look like? Who am I playing on the weekend? Now it's like, all right, soccer ends, and it's like back to my first time job. I'm a dad. I take my gloves off, and back to making sure that he has a good life, and he's being taken care of.
Yeah, there's this reel that Sabrina put up, I think, a couple days ago, and it's you coming down the hallway, and he's there waiting for you, and then he runs to you. I mean, that just like speaks volumes of the love that you guys have for each other.
Yeah, you love things like that, man. Like when I mean, first of all, it's the worst part of the job, leaving it, and then to come back and hit, being the first thing you see walking through the door, or coming back from a long road trip, it really, just is so much fun to be a father, and being able to put that smile on his face when he sees me is really just does something else to you.
Yeah, it sure does,
Yeah.
and it really brings life into perspective in a way, right? Because there's so many important things that you're doing on a daily basis, so many things that you're really passionate about, this team and your profession. But when it comes down to like just having somebody like that who loves you unconditionally, who's there for you, and for you to be able to be there with them, it really just opens up a whole new world.
Nothing better in this world.
Nothing better in this world. And with the way that the world is, I think that the fact that you value that so much is really honorable and amazing. And I'm stoked that you're like that, because that's how I am too. I like getting into with my kids, man, and I like playing with them. It lights me up, and at times it can be like, a little bit frustrating trying to figure out how to maneuver all the different situations, but all in all, when the day is over, I like feel rewarded and grateful that I have that opportunity to be a dad like that and a husband like that too.
There's so much going on in the world, and just to kind of be in the moment, and like just with him, or with your family, it's just really like, no matter what's going on in the world, what's going on, whatever you're seeing on Twitter or Instagram, TikTok, whatever's going on, you just kind of take a step back, take a deep breath, and you realize this is all that matters.
That's all you need right there.
This is all I need, right here.
Yeah, I mean, if the world, I'm really hoping that a lot of people hear this episode and get that, because it is true. I think back in the day, we weren't meant to see all this stuff that's on the net. Like, we were meant to be in community and be with our family, and like to see the actual love and possibility that's available for us right now, and some people bypass that, and like they get affected by the external environment, There's also something to be said, dude, as like someone who's in such an intense position, and it's an amazing, intense sport, to be able to step away from it and like recharge,
I think that it helps me, you know what I mean? It's like, again, like, you see all these like NBA guys, MLB guys who need to take like some time off, because like they're always in it, they're always, getting backlash, for not being able to hit a home run or something, or not being able to hit this amount of threes. And, I just think that, maybe if they had something off the court, like, court or field, that really just takes that out of their mind, it kind of just helps being able to produce on the field, and then just being able to step away, and then when you're on the field, you're present, and you're ready to go, and refreshed.
Yeah, I feel that now in business too. Like, man, if I'm at home constantly talking about business with Katie, my wife, like it slowly just starts to become this, like, it becomes less positive. But actually taking the time to step away from it and create space, it's like things start happening. People sign up for trainings, people sign up for retreats, people like sign up for classes, it's like, because I almost feel like the energy, like, we're not, when you're like constantly doing something, like the flow is kind of like stopped. But when you take a break and you just allow the world to kind of happen, flow becomes a little bit more easy. As a goalkeeper, I don't know if I said that too. I was a goalkeeper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
there you go.
do you have all your real teeth?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, I don't have all my real teeth.
No?
No, I got a couple cleats in the face and
Oh
knocked a
boy.
few teeth
There you
out.
go. Luckily, my lip caught most of that.
Totally, man. Your lips messed up, but your
Yeah,
teeth look.
that's why I got the beard here. You know, it covers it.
That's a good beard. You always had a beard?
No, so Sabrina's known me barefaced, looking like a baby. So this didn't grow in until about my senior year of not full. I had a beard, like it was very tight, and
Yeah.
but once I came to the pros, I was like, what could really make me stand out?
That's
you know?
right. Yeah. And please, nobody grab it.
Yeah, exactly. My son will tell you he loves to grab this thing.
Oh, sure, you love it.
Ripping it out on a daily basis.
How do you prepare for a game, man?
Yeah,
Mentally, physically.
yeah, mentally. I mean, we train every day, of course, but I'm big on visualization, kind of seeing things happen before it happens. I like to take 15, 20 minutes, and just kind of close my eyes and kind of just think about all the possibilities that can happen. So like shots, distribution, crosses, and just kind of take it all in. Even like if I let in a goal, like how am I gonna react? How am I gonna you know if I make a bad play, like how am I gonna react? So when the game comes, right, I already know what I'm ready to do, what's gonna happen. So if I shank a ball out of bounds, I know I'm just gonna run back and start doing my orders again. If I let in the goal, I'm gonna grab the ball and start communicating with my team. We're good. We're okay. Like we'll get the next one.
Pick them back up.
Yeah, exactly. Start communicating.
Yeah.
I'm visualizing me making big saves, visualizing coming out for crosses, punching crosses. And yeah, I think even just the stadium. So now that 7 years professional in the USL, I know what the stadiums look like. I like to envision the stadium. I like to envision what the crowd's going to be saying, whether it's smack or praise. Just kind of taking it all in before I step on the field. So I've just always felt that leaves me more ready to go.
Yeah, totally. It's like you're bringing the unconscious to a conscious place, right? So is the process of it for you like you sit in a quiet place and you close your eyes?
Yeah, I'm usually at home and I usually just close my eyes, whether it's in bed or on the couch, and just kind of just in my head, there's usually background noise, TV, my son, wife, music, whatever it is.
Yeah. And there always is, right? There's always
yeah,
noise.
always
you always got to
background
come
noise,
back to the
but
center.
kind of just kind of just sit there and really just get in a zone of shots here. If he puts it here, I'm gonna make the save. If corner kick comes in, it's my ball. Get big loud keeper, come out, claim it. Having confidence and just instilling that in me before it happens. And then I've been in the league and in the game long enough where nothing's a surprise anymore. There's gonna be mistakes from my team. There's gonna be mistakes from me. There's gonna be mistakes from the coaching staff, whatever that may be. And you got to play through it. So whatever happens, I know it's happened to me before, and just continue to put my best forward.
Yeah, respond accordingly.
Yeah.
And like you said, like get back to barking the orders or communicating.
Yeah,
Talk
exactly.
about that. I mean, you're the first line of offense, last line of defense.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, a lot of pressure on your shoulders, and in some ways, maybe you don't see it like that. But how important is your vision and your ability to communicate with your players and the success of your team?
No, yeah. So I think being able to, instill confidence in whoever's in front of you, whether that's through communication, big saves, coming for crosses. I like to try and instill all three of that into my game. So being able to see things before it happens, being able to, tell people where to be, where to go, if they have a run on their back shoulder, being their eyes for them, because they're not going to be able to see what's behind them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So being able to see that before it happens. And then, just trying to take pressure off my team as much as possible, because again, it's the life of the position. You're going to have to make some plays. You're going to have to, do some things that, you're not going to want to do. But, if I can come out for a cross, catch it, and, have the team be able to take a deep breath and say, okay, we're good. We can go back on offense and do this. And then even if, play breaks down and able to make a big save and kind of have guys say, okay, we're good. Like all that happened, but it didn't happen. Like they didn't score because, our goalkeeper was able to help. Yeah. So, just being able to, have that for them. And, I, I like to kind of try and be a leader, so that it makes their jobs easier. They're not thinking about everything that's going on 100 miles per hour. I'm already taking all that information and kind of saying, okay, this is what's going to be easy. Play to him, we go there and then play up the field and we're good.
Yeah, totally. And by being like that in that leadership position and really stepping in there powerfully, right, you give them a lot of confidence and so in that way too,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, which is phenomenal. Dude, another thing that I believe you are incredible at are penalty kicks. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing you do some serious visualization and penalty kicks too.
Part of it, yeah.
Yeah, what's the strategy?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a part of like some analysis in it, who likes to go where, who likes to do this, blah, blah, blah. But I also believe that it's a big, like, it's just instincts, like so many times, I've dove one way because I've seen it on tape and they go the other way when I'm like, I kind of thought about it, I think so. So you watch a lot of video, but I think a lot of it is just kind of trusting your gut and kind of knowing what's going to happen. And then, if, they're supposed to score, I think it's like an 80% or more that they're going to score. So, you kind of just go one way, put all you got, try and cover as much goal as possible. And, if it goes in, they're supposed to score. And in a penalty shootout, if you save 1 out of 5, you're considered really good at penalties. So it's like,
right.
So it's like, you're not going to save them all, but the more you can save, better you're going to look and better your team will be,
Yeah. Do you have a favorite penalty kick save that you can recall?
For me, I mean, I love the U.S. Open Cup one versus Sporting Kansas City versus Graham Zusi to put us into the final. That was obviously the best, but I think there was one last year. Right, the moment for Sporting Kansas City, that moment is probably the best I've ever had. But there was one last year where I dove one way and he ended up going towards the middle, and I was able to kind of come back with my foot and kick it over the crossbar.
Yeah,
just that one when you're that, how you talked about when you're kind of just like in awe of yourself. When I save that and I lose it for a little bit. I'm like looking all over the cup and I see it goes out for a corner. I'm like, oh my god, yeah. That one was like, holy crap! How did that just happen?
That's an amazing story. Yeah, in awe of yourself. I can see that. That's really great.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk just real briefly about your team this year.
Yeah.
Who are some players that are standing out for you, and what is the season looking like for you guys moving forward?
Yeah, so we have some great talent on our team. We got guys like Russell Cicerone. He's our playmaker. Our number 10. He's always going to be the one on the ball. Trying to get at defenders and not only score goals but make goals happen as well. You got guys like Nick Ross, who's in the center of the pitch. He's from Scotland. He's got eyes in the back of his head. He can make a pass anywhere, breaks lines. He makes us tick. Guys like Roro, like who we talked about earlier, he can, make stuff happen. He's usually the pass before the goal happens. He's going to be great to have back. We have guys like Lee Desmond who have been here for years. He's usually a left-sided center back. He's class. He's running through guys, making passes into the midfield, to help us get out of pressure. You have guys like Jerry Timmer who lightning fast. You wouldn't think he's fast by the look at him, but this guy will chase down anyone. He's super fast.
It's like a cheetah. Huh?
Cheetah.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
But yeah, I think those guys are really our top one. I'll probably forget a couple, but it's a long season. If years past hasn't taught us anything, it doesn't matter how you start it off. Of course, about how you finish. Teams. I think Colorado, who won it last year, they started. I don't think they won a game for their first 8 games. I think they were on that big of a drought. The year before that, it was Phoenix, who they ended up being in 6th or 7th place going into the playoffs. They won the whole thing. So it's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. And when we get our best squad on the field, then we're going to be doing the dang thing.
Yeah, what would you say that you, as a team, are working on the most is going to help you get to that place?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a specific style where we want to be able to, get the ball into the opponent's half, be able to, counter press, repress, win the ball high, go straight to goal and score. I think in these last few games we've had the most recoveries in the opponent's half. So it's, stealing the ball and being able to start our attack that way. So, being able to, have a lot of energy, be high up the field, and being able to win some duels and win some tackles, and scoring goals from plays higher up the field.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense. One of the things that I realized when I was playing is how important it was for me to have a supporting crew as a goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Like the backup goalkeeper, the other goalkeepers on the team were vitally important to my success, and some of them became some of my best friends.
Yeah.
Who are the backup goalkeepers for the Republic right now?
So we have one signed, Jared Mazzola, and then we get help from our academy. So I think we have like a rotation of like 4 or 5 guys, under the age of 18 who come in on a daily basis. Bradley Johnson, our goalkeeper coach, he does a great job, setting us up for success.
What kind of sessions are you guys doing when you're out there? Is it like a 30-minute or hour session with just the goalkeepers, or how does it work?
Yeah. So it usually depends on what the outfield players are doing. So if they're coming to goal or they need goalkeepers, within 20 minutes, we're usually starting a bit early. So usually it's around, 30 to 45 minutes. We're on our own with just the goalkeepers, and then, we'll train with the players for about an hour.
Yeah, I was talking with a couple of my buddies who are into soccer and told them, like, Danny Vitiello is going to be with me today, and one of my friends, Donnie Roboto, he's the head coach for Folsom Lake College women's soccer, which is right over here. They're back-to-back 3C 2A champions for the women's program. And he's like, that interview ought to be interesting. A couple goalkeepers, huh?
Yeah.
He's like, goalkeepers are nuts.
I know. We get some stick for being goalkeepers, but that's okay. No one other than us can face a 60-mile-per-hour shot coming straight out of your face.
Yeah.
I took one to the face yesterday in training, and guys are like, "Oh," and I'm just like, "All right, we're good. Let's step back in." But yeah, we're supposed to be crazy. We're supposed to be weird.
That was funny beforehand too. I was talking with Sabrina about Daniel, and she's like, "I don't know if I could handle it if he became a goalkeeper."
Yeah.
And I thought, and I told her, I was like, well, maybe we should have you on the podcast to talk about the stressors of being married to a goalkeeper.
Honestly, my mom, like obviously my dad also, like they'll tell you how much stress, it is being a goalkeeper's parents or significant other. They probably hate it. They probably hate it more than me. I mean, I'm fine with it, but yeah. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's funny. I know. I remember talking to my mom and my dad in my heyday, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't handle that." Are you doing okay? Like, this is so stressful for me,
Like, what
good.
What are you thinking when you have someone running at you with the ball? Like, are you scared? Oh my God, I'm just thinking about what they're gonna do. Where they trying to make it save, Mom.
Oh, it just shows how much I love you, man. That's it. Well, I want to round it out just by asking for you, like, what are some things that you would say to youth players out there about developing their game to the point where they can go into the next level? What would you suggest for them from your experience?
Yeah, I mean, I've been around the game for a while, and I think you just need to get out and play, whether it's with friends or if you can find a wall and just pass the ball. Just work on these simple skills, and I'm telling you, they'll take you a mile, like a mile. You just need to get out and play. These kids, they think they can just train with their teams twice a week and they'll be able to, go far with soccer. But no, I think you need to be able to train 5-6 days a week if you're not playing a game, to be able to instill those little skills, and just to be around the game. It's more than just the things we're talking about. Passing, making saves. It's about being able to see what's going on before it's going on. Like, you can ask any center midfielder like what you need to be good at. Yeah, you can be good at passing. You can be good at dribbling, but you need to be aware of what's around you. You need to be able to check your shoulders. You need to be able to know, where that next pass is going before the ball even gets to you. If you get a ball from a center back, you need to know, okay, need to pass to the right back because he's going to be able to pass it there, and then we'll be able to get behind and score. So just being around the game as much as possible, working hard. You don't want to just go day to day. Lackadaisical. You got to work hard, put the work in, want to be there. You got to love it. You got to know, what you want to do with the game. You want to know what you want to be, and you want to know where you want to take it, and you got to put the work in for it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Like, really don't even want to overcomplicate that, right? It's like, know where you want to go, visualize.
Yeah.
We learned from you, Dan. You got to visualize, man. And visualize on those things you want, not on the things you don't want, right? Like, that's super important. Yep, and just put the work in and keep grinding, man.
Sure.
I mean, I am so in awe of the fact that you took the time to come out here and talk today, man. And I feel like we've built a great relationship through this. And super excited for you and for your career and for you as a dad and as a husband. And I'm so excited for the city of Sacramento to get the opportunity to continue to watch you play. I know you just had a contract extension. What do you say to the fans of Sacramento?
I mean, they're the best fans in the league, like without a question. You get all these guys saying, we got the best fans, but it's not even a question. They're the best fans. We get the most support from these guys, on a daily basis. The amount of messages I get, saying, they support us, and they'll always have our back. Even if it's just a post about my family, they're always there. They're always saying how amazing we are, and even that support, again, being so far from home. Knowing you got, fans to, that have your back and want you to be here. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. It's neat that you found this place. Well, got to get you in here and doing some yoga sometimes.
Yeah, I got to get up to Idaho too. That'd be fun.
Come visit, man. You like getting outside, doing like hiking and?
No, yeah, love it.
I've
done a bunch of stuff. I went to Tahoe. I've been to Tahoe a bunch. I've been out towards Napa, San Fran. I love seeing the area around here.
Yeah.
So much to do out here.
So much.
It's not only Sacramento, but like you drive north, you drive west, drive east, drive south. You always got something different, which I think is really neat and something you won't see in most cities. So
yeah.
So it's a blast.
Yeah, it's cool. Well, and yeah, you got to come visit Idaho. You guys have a place to stay. We have 3 crazy kids that Daniel can get in and jump around with. We'll get out there, explore the woods. The thing I like about Idaho is 70% of it is state or national park.
Oh yeah.
So like there's Boise area
So much
has
stuff to do.
tons of people kind of in that area, but then like you can get out in the middle of nowhere pretty quickly, so we like doing that for sure. But yeah, you're always welcome, man.
Awesome.
And I'm gonna do my very best to get in and see you play this year.
Awesome. Let me know when you want to come by.
Yeah, I would love to do it. Hey, thank you, man, for being on Play Hard and Love Big Radio.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me. Awesome. This is awesome. So
yeah, Danny Vitiello, man. You're a stud. Looking forward to watching you and your team go after it this year, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Go Sacramento.
Go Sacramento. Go Republic.
Play hard and love big radio podcast. Inspiration on your station with the show broadcast. You don't want to miss it. You got to listen. Good vibes and stories for you to go the distance. Bringing inspiration, stories that shine. Helping you connect heart and mind align. Live your best life, lift up and soar. Fueled by kumquat energy, we give you more. Play hard and love.